The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. The S&P is in a little bit of a bloodbath today, off 48 points on the S&P cash. Volume is good, but not what you would think of, and 48 points off at 2.5 billion shares as we start the show. That is not bad volume, actually fairly good, but not Armageddon volume out here. And again, we see a lot of stocks with light volume, and we'll be talking about those today. And those are the ones we're going to be looking at if the market does ever head higher. We've had some interesting action out here today. We'll comment on that, and we'll look at some of the stocks that have gone lower. I've been thinking with this light volume, a lot of these stocks were going to rally. In fact, we were looking at, in the newsletter, I took some very small stops in the IBB, and Congress got in the way. We'll talk about that in just a minute. What else do we have out here? That's pretty much it. Just time to get this party started, and we will get going.
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
This day in 1987, the cover of Fortune magazine asks, "Are stocks too high?" Heck no, answers the cover story. New ways of valuating shares give some surprises and answers. Clearly something is going on that old analytical concepts cannot be accounted for. The world's leading hedge fund manager, George Soros, tells Fortune magazine that the market is already unstable and overvalued. It has not reached the point of collapse. Indeed, it could move much higher yet. Then again, it could move much lower. Just 14 trading days later, the stock market drops by 23%. And of course, why is this so interesting today? Well, we've got another financial maven. I want someone to call me. That's going to be on my bucket list, that I get called a maven. Although I'm not exactly sure all the connotations of it. I think it's probably pretty good. Anyway, a financial maven is doing that today, and that is Carl Icahn. He's coming out with some videotape about the end of the world tomorrow, at least in the stock market. But not a lot is new out here. And everybody always thinks, well, this is kind of new. Now, maybe a whole videotape about the end of the market is different for Carl Icahn. But mavens running around saying the sky is falling is not new. And it wasn't on this day in 1987 with George Soros. Although, of course, he was saying that it would last another 3 months before it cratered. Apple was acting very funny, and this is a kind of a market that is extremely jittery. Apple got up to about 116.75, 116.80. I thought it would get it to about 117. Then it really started moving down on Friday, and I was unsure of why. But apparently Aaron Sorkin, who's making a movie about Steve Jobs, was getting interviewed, and apparently the night before, once again, the CEO of Apple said that he was an opportunist by seeing this movie. Aaron Sorkin then started yelling and screaming at a very high decibel level in England. And, of course, that's, 5-6 hours ahead of us. It really hit the market a lot sooner than the data actually got here, or the news reports actually got here. But old Aaron Sorkin was going 1, 2, 3, and on the third is that you got a factory full of children in China assembling phones for 17 cents an hour. You got a lot of nerve calling someone else opportunistic. And that's where Apple really started falling off the fruit wagon on Friday and headed back down rather quickly. And just a good indication that not everything has to do with how many iPhones they sold. A lot of it has to do with any time you've got a weakness, which in case Apple's is several, but one of those weaknesses is, of course, child labor in China. But don't diss his movie, he says, since you've never seen it. He's heard some things about it. And, of course, it is a warts and all movie that will be out, I think, October 5th? Something like October 5th here in the United States. Probably, I don't know if it's a good movie. Normally, if they release it in England before they do here and in other countries, it's not all that great. And my understanding is it's going to be released a little bit early in those other countries. Normally, they do that so reviewers don't savage it here on Rotten Tomatoes here in the United States before it happened. But kind of interesting. Not all the action back in there. In fact, Apple's off, printing off about 113 now. Volume 33 million shares. Could it be a lot worse? So a lot of these big stocks out here, Netflix, Tesla, they're down, but they were a lot lower not too long ago. Of course, we are talking, I thought that I'd spotted a very good spot to take a ride on a short squeeze in the IBB, that being in the, actually in the BIB, and that was right around 5650 if you want to go to an intraday chart on that. Anyway, I got long there, wanted to have a stop at about 5620. Had a nice little rally out of there. It got sold, and it was heavy shorting. So I thought that if there was a turnaround today, we'd be looking at 62 or 63 on this by the end of the day. And just relentless shorting all morning long. They couldn't break it down. When you looked at the IBB, it was, it's at 287 now, but it was hanging at about 296, 297. Couldn't get, a lot of people trying to short it, push it down. It sat there for a good 2 hours. So I thought, well, probably a pretty good indication. I had a pretty short stop, so we got a little hammering there. And I was wondering what's going on. And, of course, and then the news travels slowly. But not on Wall Street, not when, of course, they have anything to do with Congress themselves. It comes out that, of course, Congress is waving its collective subpoena power around. And I'm trying to remember this is the other Democrat that did this. I can't remember, Elijah Cummings. He's the other Democrat that does not, well, I'm not going to say that he sometimes refers to himself as a socialist, kind of like Bernie Sanders. But he's kind of at that part of the wing of the party. Anyway, this thing could not get any lower. And I always wonder just how much work that there is between those guys. Maybe the stock was going down lower anyway. But at 1237, he started waving a request for a subpoena to go after more of what they're doing out there. And that's pretty much when everything started to crack. But we will see it later. Whether it is and will be something that amounts to anything is beyond me. But there was somebody that was talking earlier on CNBC today and said, you know what? I want the Fed to shut up. I want them to shut up for 60 days. I don't want them coming out making any more statements or yelling or screaming. And, if I was king, I think I would make sure that all FOMC announcements were after the bell, that any time Congress wanted to yell and squawk about stocks and anything that moves stocks would happen after the bell. And but I don't think we'd probably ever get that through Congress, because somehow I have a sneaking sensation that there were a lot of people that knew about that, or it became something when maybe a stock or an index wouldn't break. It just happens too much, too often. And what else can you say? Anyway, I lost a tiny amount, so I'm not going to think about it more than this day. But always kind of interesting as there is something to come out midday when it relates to politics. Mr. Marks, one of the other things, someone gave me a hard time, so I'm going to go one of those I told you thusly's.
I informed you thusly.
I informed you thusly. And that is the Labour Party of Britain. On Monday, the co-author of the Communist Manifesto was brought up and said it's back in fashion because his ideas offer a definitive way to analyze capitalist foundations of the modern Western economy. Basically, this gentleman emailed me and said, you're just a bunch of other poppycock. Britain's not going far left. And the answer is, if you read the rest of this article, is pretty big praise for Karl Marx. The downside, of course, is of the 6,000 years of recorded history, it has never worked, but that does not matter. They go back to it like bees to honey. Anyway, that's pretty much that. We wanted to get into stocks fairly early and what's going on with that out there. But market's very, very sensitive, it looks like, to any kind of discussion, politics, even people yelling over in Britain about a potential movie with Apple. Doesn't seem like it needs a lot of amplification. This market is more than willing to listen to it. Kind of reminds me of those very old ladies that had the giant horn everybody would talk into. I wondered if those actually worked at all. Anyway, IBB did crack, and cracked largely, off 24.5 points. Volume is 8 billion shares, and it looks to where like we're probably getting to some level of exhaustion, but kind of tough to see how that works out. Of course, when we get into some of the other things moving around here, as we do go lower, gold's off 1280. Could be a lot worse. Could be silver. It's off 56 cents. That's off almost 4%. $15.54 on gold. When we look at crude, did hold 45 for a few days. It's back under 45. That seems to be the real bear bull story. And off $1.28 today at 44.41. And of course, the dollar, the other big story, they gave it a giant push today. And the Treasury is doing, I think, everything it can to keep this under 96.30 on the continuous contract. What do we have on the continuous contract right now? 95.56. It got to 96.50. And I checked with my Forex guy, who I know in Chicago, and he says, no. He says, there's somebody, and of course, you'll never know that it's the Treasury that's up there. Every time it gets into the 96s, that is more than willing to dump massive amounts in fire hose size above that level. Now, can we guarantee that it's the Treasury in league with the Fed? Probably not. But, you know, 2 weeks ago, they signed an agreement that they would not do competitive devaluation. And we've been in a narrowing range in the dollar. It looks to me like there's a lot of effort to make sure that the dollar narrows its wandering path here. We're getting closer and closer, and the volatility is dying in the dollar.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhoades, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Technomental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And very interesting how the market's responding, of course. Not going up in crude, so they're not buying that. And, of course, gold's off $12, so that's not getting a big hug as the markets head down. Silver actually is probably being spit on here at $56. It is the red-headed stepchild. Platinum, of course, off $28, and that is probably the real news. Trading off at $9.19 at a magnificent discount to gold. But I don't know. It just seems to me like everything would actually make platinum do well. I'm not long or short it, but very interesting. Anyway, a lot of the stocks out here making me think that I would love to see some volume in some of these. And, of course, day ain't over yet. But Tesla Motors, you know, it was up a little higher. It's trading at about $15 range. But when let me get a current quote on it, 248.40. So it's off $8, 3.4 million shares. You know, you've got 195 out here on the August 24th. Could it be in just a larger trading range? It could. I would like to see this come off with some volume. I'd like to short it. Unfortunately, everybody and their dog is short this one already. And maybe we can say the same thing about Netflix, NFLX. Certainly, you would think that if the end of the world is coming, we'd certainly be selling this one. Of course, it was off to $93 just a week ago. It's kind of just in a bigger trading range out here, but you're not seeing a tremendous of selling 10 million or 10.1 million shares so far today, and just under $100 out here. It looks to me like a narrowing range on Netflix, which means that you could get one more move back up here to the 110 or 115 back up into these gaps if it is an asymmetrical triangle, finally breaks off to the wrong side, and that may be the opportunity to get it. Another stock, of course, massively short and very tough to get a lot of cash out of those massively short stocks because there's always somebody standing there wanting to cover their short, which makes it problematic. Anyway, we will be back in a moment. Make sure and give me a call at 877-927-6648. Email me at path@tfnn.com. Post something in the den.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with NADEX. NADEX, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, NADEX allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with NADEX in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. NADEX is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the NADEX banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how EverBank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? EverBank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? EverBank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. EverBank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. EverBank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we have a request via email to look at Occidental Petroleum from Ricky in Atlanta. And we talked about this last week. You had a little bounce out here, but you had these charts do not look bad in a vacuum. Of course, we're in a market, and the broad market is probably more important than just about anything else. August 24th, Occidental Petroleum came in with $64.83, 10 million shares. Of course, we kind of thumped that on Thursday last week with 4.3 million shares. Bounced a little on Friday. Volume did pick up. We are back down with very light volume again today, 2.8 million shares. Of course, to continue to be on a buy, you want to close above that 64.83. What are we at? 64.25. So my guess is you're probably not going to get that. So you're probably looking for the next close above 64.83 to validate a bottom in this. But you know, the energy off that August 24th low to the August 35th or August 31st high was pretty good with volume, and we've seen, you know, a fairly decent pullback out here with light volume. In fact, a lot of days with very light volume. That we had a little bit of up volume on Friday was interesting to me, and very light volume out here. So maybe we're going to have more political Roman candles going off and seeing more of these break. But there still tends to be a lot of stocks out here that are breaking out those August 24th lows with a lighter volume. So just keep an eye on those. I had a question also in my email. Where's that at? Did I accidentally delete it? I think I did. Someone was asking about CCJ. And, you know, along with energy and the baby out with the bathwater, this chart did not look all that bad. We went into the August 25th absolute low with 3.4 million shares. Did that last couple of days with 2.5 million and 1.5 million shares on Friday. Today, 1.5 million shares. So, you know, if you look at the major lows, 4.9 million shares on July 28th, August 25th, 3.4 million shares, and 1.5 million shares. There looks like maybe there's going to be some little tasty trades out here in the not too distant future. And what else do we have? Something is horribly wrong here. I'm not sure what it is. It says I'm going to a break, but I know I'm not going to a break. Not seeing the top of the chart. It says, well, are you talking about the controls? Because I actually just changed those. My engineer's asking if we see the charts. Or you want to see all those things or a bigger chart? Better. Okay. Anyway, so, you know, down on lighter volume, if we go back a little bit further, you know, this thing's been in a downtrend. Can you continue in a downtrend? I think you can, but so like I said, some of these stocks, even if you are bearish out here, some of these stocks are going to look fairly decent at least some point in the future. Cobalt International, CIE. This one, of course, on August 24th, 8.5 million shares. Last 3 days as we get into this one, 2.3, 2.5 today, 1.8 million shares so far, but not a lot of volume coming in some of these. What else do we have out here? Affirmatrix. I think that was one that caught my eye. This one's in a longer down trend. I'd been waiting for it to get into this gap. See if we can go back here and find this gap out here and zoom into it. This gap occurred on the 31st of October last year, right? Yes, last year. And went up on 1.77 million shares. We're in that today with 1.1 million shares. So you're into that gap. But if you even look at the 24th, this had 1.1 million shares. Volume may picking up a little bit, but we are getting some gap fills in this. We're talking about Amgen 2, and Amgen is headed to this October 16th, 2014 low, 127.67, 7.9 million shares. Now, that's $3 lower We've got about 5 million shares now. So if you're thinking that the IBB is going to bounce now, the next shovel of sand under the keel of your sinking ship would be that October 16th low, 127.67, October 16th for that low with decent shares. Let's call it 8 million shares. Anyway, like I said, 4.5 million shares, or 4.9 million shares so far on that one. Again, you can email me at path@tfnn.com. Call me at 877-927-6648. And, of course, post a message in the den. We'll take a quick look out here. 1886 on the S&P cash. So we've had a little small bounce off that 1880 low, 2.7 million shares. But normally when you get into a down trend like this on a day like this, awful hard to see one much after 2 o'clock that does turn around. Of course, we are going to the end of quarter. We're going to the end of the month, and probably going to see at least some money come in from fund buying over the next few days. But at the moment, that is a long time away in the market. Some of the other stocks out here that I've been waiting for and had been, going through volumes with light volume or lows with light volume. Some of these are being more attracted by some of these longer term gaps. Accurate, I really liked the way this thing had been handling. I wasn't long it. But I loved this gap up that happened on May 8th of 2013. That is probably going to be long-term support, 4.9 million shares. And again, we don't have that much farther to go out here. It got down to $5.14 already. But this thing down here at $5 would be a fairly significant, probably sign of support as we look in some of these. But, this was a $10 stock not that long ago, and probably needs some consolidation. But over time, I'm seeing a lot of these stuff would be very interesting to me over time. We also talked about CREE last week, so let's go check in on this one. Of course, this had been nothing but in a downtrend, and this is a lot more about what I'm looking at in the individual stocks. And that tends to be a fairly decent low in a lot of these stocks that have started selling off 6 months or 9 months before everything blew up in the last 45 days. July 7th, $23.63, 3 million shares. Tried to kind of had a big interday day on the 12th of August. Did the same thing on August 24th with 3 million shares. We're back into that a couple of days ago with 1.5 million shares. Friday, 1 million shares. Today, just 618,000 shares against those lows being made by 3 million. So it certainly is a tale of two cities. And that is stocks with a lot of volume, like the biotechs, and stocks with almost no volume. And it just looks like a lot of these that fell apart long before everything got going certainly are finding the lows now. Of course, the belle of the ball that everybody likes to talk about is Palo Alto Networks. This one is down today, 1.3 million shares. You have a nice little gap up that goes back on the 10th of September that had 4.8 million shares. So 1.2 million shares is not all that bad. So a lot of the bells of the ball continue on Wall Street to not look all that bad. It is a sector by sector whomping out here as we go through this market. What else do we have out here? TWX. We'll see how this guy handled the lows today. Time Warner. We go back to the August 24th low on it, 66.82, 8.9 million shares. Getting into it, actually did break it today off 2, 5, 6 million share days at the end of last week with 2.7 million shares underneath it today. So we've got a market that is getting wound up. At one point, you're either going to have one of two things. That is a huge amount of volume coming into the downside and or this thing popping and going much higher. which you have to keep an eye on. Another one out here is World Wrestling Federation Entertainment, WWE. And in fact, my sister was just talking to me yesterday about Hulk Hogan. I had to say that I bumped into him several times while going into the TFNN office. If you've never been by the TFNN offices, on the same floor is a room that lawyers rent out in the building to take depositions. And I run into him many times there, up and down on the elevators, or him coming out. Seems like he likes depositions on Fridays when I'm over there. Anyway, WWE. This thing gapped up with monster volume, a sign of strength on June the 30th with 3.6 million shares. Got back into it with 3.1 million shares on September 1st. So you know it was coming back into it. Of course, 379,000 shares on Thursday, 438,000 shares on Friday. Today, 240,000 shares. So a lot of these filling the gaps, but again, not the kind of monster volume that you would think coming in. Some of the other stocks I'm waiting for a test of the low to come in on are United Rentals. This August 24th was 4.2 million shares, and got into that candle with 3.3 million shares. Bounced a little, of course, on Friday. Today, back down on 1.2 million shares compared to that high volume day of August 24th. Tidewater. The wheels should be falling off of this one, but not so bad. It is lower than the August 24th, 25th low. You had 2.9 million shares back on those days. You had a nice little rally off that when it tested it with less than 1 million shares on September 11th. It is back into those in the last 3 days. 800,000, less than 1 million on Friday, and we're about that same, less than 1 million right now, but we are below those lows. Rackspace. This one is, of course, one that is basing out, looks fairly decent. They are going below a lot of these lows on much lighter volume, but literally there isn't a whole lot of volume at all. August 11th, this thing spiked down with 11 million shares. You got into the August 24th low with 3.7 million shares. So let's just use that one as it's a little bit more conservative. $26.87. Now we're into that and down and underneath it with a good 50 cents lower with 630,000 shares compared to the 3.7 million shares. So again, we go from sector to sector, finding stocks that maybe are going below their lows, but certainly not seeing the kind of massive volume we would like to see if you think the entire baby is going out with the bathwater. And normally that's what you do see in markets. Three-fourths of them do go down on higher volume. We have very select sectors where most of the selling is coming in, and the rest not so much. PACCAR, August 24th low, $53.45 on Friday, 3.4 million shares. Today, just a piddly 2 million shares. Any close back above 53.45 puts this on a buy. Mankind, MNKD. Come on. There we go. Last year low, the August 26th maximum low was $3.25, 7.2 million shares. Last 3 days, 3.8 million shares, 3.7 million shares today, 3.5 million shares. So volume may pick up today on this one. If we look back a little bit farther, it had a sign of strength, had a high volume high out here. I've kept my eye on this one because of that, but that's another story altogether. NVIDIA, when we talk about stocks that actually are testing previous highs on lighter volume, there are some. NVIDIA is one, August 10th, $23.95, 16 million shares. Got into that on Friday, 6.2 million shares, but not a lot of volume on the pullback out here today. Again, one of these stocks I think that has fairly high short interest, so we'll keep an eye on that. Again, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can post a message in the den, and of course, you can email me at path@tfnn.com. Got another request to look at Garmin from last week. The August 24th low, $35.35. Tried to get back into that, but didn't pierce it on the September the 11th. Fairly light volume, 1.5 million shares compared to that 4.5 million shares. On the 24th, we had 1 million shares again. It kind of popped back into the trading range. Little light volume on Friday at 1 million shares. Today, so far, 655,000 shares. You need to close back above the 35 to keep this thing in here. HP, I know it's dear and near and dear to at least a few people in the den, as they have spouses that work there. Hewlett-Packard, for a stock that continues to be besmirched by many on Wall Street. August 24th low ended up being $24.85, 35 million shares. Last 3 days, 16.8 million shares. Friday, 12.7 million shares. Today, 8.3 million shares. So again, very tough for me not see that this market gets some kind of bounce out of here, at least, or volume comes in. Pretty much looking at one of those two scenarios. Back into the oil patch we go with Apache. And I think this is for Doug, who just emailed me. Yeah, it doesn't say where he's from. Anyway, Doug, Apache. We were looking at, of course, the August 26th, 25th, 24th lows. Maximum volume in there was 8 million shares. $38.40 was the maximum low on the 26th. As we go into the last 4 days, 4.4 million shares, 5.7 million shares, 4.2 million shares on Friday. Today, 2.8 million shares so far. And again, we've got an hour to go, but it doesn't look to me like a lot of these particular stocks are going to see a great deal more volume here in the near time, in near future. Cloud Peak Energy, we've been talking about this one last week also. 2.6 million shares on the August 6th low. This thing actually started going up all the way. Nice run to August 31st at $4.76. We've got kind of mostly sideways action down here in this one. And, of course, we're looking for 4.6 million shares. So the last 4 days, under 2 million shares, 1.6 million shares. Friday, 1.8 million shares. Today, 1.2 million shares and a doji. So we've got a real decision in this market to make on a lot of these stocks about what's going on. The market's been drifting up on light volume from that 1880 low in the S&P cash. We're off 44 points, 2.8 billion shares. If we extrapolate the volume, I'm looking for something like 4.8 billion shares to really signal that the lows have been blown out. Right now, we're looking at about probably being about 1 billion shares short. I'm going to say we're probably going to just come in under 4 billion shares on the NYSE, and I was looking for maybe 4.8 or more to go back through those those August 24th lows. We'll be back in a minute. Still have plenty of time to call.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhoades, host of the Trader's Edge heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And, wow, we've got Andy. He's got a lot of new articles on Seeking Alpha, so go check them out. Bulls and Bears and Pigs is one of his articles this week. Tom O'Brien for the next 2 hours. Of course, Andy will be with us after in the 5 o'clock hour tomorrow. But you better catch him then, because he's amscraying quickly and going on vacation for a couple of weeks. So you want to check that out. Anyway, we have a request from Ron in, I think it's St. Louis. I think that's where he's from. Anyway, about Apple. And when you look at this, I just don't see a whole lot. Certainly, what I don't see a whole lot of is volume today on this one on the downside. 36 million shares today. And yeah, it's down. Is it getting blown apart? Not so much. I don't know what else you can say about it. This thing's in a tight trading range, about 116 on the upside, like we saw of on Friday, and you got kind of about 112. About 112 on the low side, going back to the 18th, and that's it. So fairly tight trading range. So not a whole lot on that. What else do we have? Checkpoint. What's up on this one? CHKP. To David. Does he say where he's at? Tell where he's at. Dave from Oklahoma. Okay. And holding up pretty good in a horrible market out here. No volume to the downside in Checkpoint today. I tell you what, I bought a stock that looked like this today, and it's not doing bad. There is, I think we're getting a kind of a big opportunity to see the wheat from the chaff. I may be early in this market buying a bounce. I know a lot of people are ready for the another 80 points lower in this market. Would not be beyond the scope of reason now that we've broken through 1900. I would have liked, like I said, to see some volume in this market. Continue to see some very light volume in a great deal of the stocks. Doesn't mean that volume will not come in later, like we've seen in the IBB today. But well, it's a little different. Anyway, you know, doesn't look bad. The thing is that you need a market to turn around and support these. Let me go take a look at mine. It's up 29 cents today. So anyway, there are some stocks out here that look very much like this. This is not a bad pattern. You really need to see volume coming back in. Could you get it back at this gap? I think that's where I'd be looking, and that is the gap that was last tested on September 1st. You know, if this could get back in there a couple bucks lower, back into that $76 range, and the market turn around for you, I think that would be very interesting. Looks very sweet. What else do we want to look at out here? We looked at about PCAR. Let's look at Red Hat. We were talking about stocks, not many stocks test highs on previous or on lighter volume, but we did have Red Hat go after the August 27th high, $74.37, 1.9 million shares. Did that on Friday, 1.2 million shares. And of course, pretty good thumping today. But again, not a lot of volume on the downside on it. That it was up there at the highs, I think you probably have to give some kudos to it to begin with. But a little less than out there. What else do we have? WPZ. We have time for this guy. Williams Partners. And they've got some kind of buy on out going on out there. And it's very confusing as to what's happening. The market doesn't seem to like it. This is one that had light volume on Thursday and Friday. Volume did come in, 3.1 million shares. You were looking for less than 3.7. I think you can get your 3.7 today on Williams Partners. So hang on for Tom O'Brien for the next 2 hours. And I'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.